Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, I watched this one video a while ago, which I thought was pretty funny. The whole uh, if if meat eaters act like vegans, and in a way, I pretty much thought it was pretty funny. And but then it was like there were some people who were vegan that took it as an offense. When the guy who made that video is a vegan himself, he was just poking fun at how ridiculous the militant social justice warrior type vegans are, as far as that goes. And speaking of that, it was like Vegan Gains had made a response to that sort of thing, but it's like I don't really need to see the video because he was just gonna go around and have a huge hissy fit about it, and call that one guy a bad person and compare him to Hitler and all this sort of stuff and blah 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 blah. When in fact there was an article on the, I forgot, what was it, like the Daily Mirror about it or whatever it was, and where he had said in the end about like how people shouldn't take him too seriously. And it's like, what the fuck? I mean, you act like such an asshole and that you make the vegan community look like a bunch of monsters and all that sort of stuff when you go around and talk about how you want to slaughter a bunch of people, and then you talk it in a tone like you're having a casual conversation. And then the fact that not all vegans act that sort of way. The fact that my own brother is a vegan for 20 years, which is as long as that you have been on here, as far as that goes, and that you make him look bad as far as that goes, and that's basically the reason why I had so much vitriol against you as far as that goes. That you make the rest of the vegan community look bad, which is, and the fact that my brother is part of that community as far as that goes, and that's basically why I've been like calling out people like vegan gains in a way, you know. So anyways, I think as far as like when I was reading like the comments about that sort of stuff, and and there were some people like on both sides of the argument that were just making complete assholes of themselves, and then it was like where somebody said like, or somewhere it said like, oh, vegans are such self-absorbed assholes, like self-absorbed assholes. I mean, I just can't believe how some people could say these kind of things about vegans, when when they don't even know what constitutes being vegan and all of that sort of stuff, and they kind of buy into the whole stereotypes like line and sinker, and all that. It was like the whole reason why I thumbed up like that whole video where it was like real vegans versus vegan stereotypes. That was a BuzzFeed video, and like one of those little things again, and it's like that I was kind of mentioned earlier about like how Tom Hartman had said about like this one thing where he was talking to a vegetarian about how he said about his sons were like raised as vegetarians, and then how he said about like how how like it was some one of their classmates' birthdays and they were having hamburgers, and so he had them like eat like the vegetarian version of hamburgers so he wouldn't feel bad, and then he kind of referred to it as like fake hamburgers. Like, you, God, it's like, you of all people who are like a vegetarian, you shouldn't refer to your own food as like fake something like that. That just shows that like your version of it is not as good as like the other version, which I take offense to that, even though I'm not a vegan, I take offense to say that people would go around and say that sort of thing, of all people who are a vegetarian, that would go around and say things like that, and especially like how the stereotype, like, oh, like the vegan food or vegetarian food is like doesn't taste as good, it's all bland, and which in reality I had like a soy chicken sandwich like a couple months ago when my brother was visiting, and it tasted exactly the same as uh, as the other kind of sandwich, and maybe even a little bit better, you know. So it's just how infuriating some people could be, like that, and that maybe I have to probably stop watching these kind of videos or stop talking about these kind of videos as if it's just infuriating to me about how ridiculous both sides of like the whole argument, and whether it's like veganism versus omnivores or all this sort of stuff, when in reality that there is no that that both diets have their pluses and minuses and all that sort of stuff, and that you're free to choose whatever diet you wish to choose, and that there's just no right or wrong as far as that goes. And there are plenty of vegans that would agree with me and all that, you know. So it's just one of those things that I just find that annoying about certain people, I mean, going on these petty discussions and petty things and trying to prove each other which of their ideals are correct, and they resort to name calling, personal attacks, appeal to emotions, and posting inaccurate studies as far as that goes, like that, to kind of try to prove why veganism is better and all this sort of stuff, when it doesn't really matter, you know, as far as that goes. And how they say things about like that this sort of thing is good for the environment, but yet they're using electricity which is probably produced by coal or oil or nuclear energy or whatnot, which basically defeats the whole argument as far as that goes, and or they say something about how it's not good to eat animal byproducts, but yet even like the fruit that is like pollinated by bees is kind of like an animal byproduct because of the nectar, and all of that. And so that kind of defeats the whole argument, which is just really just shows how absurd some people could be with with all of this, and which I just don't get why people are this sort of way. Why can't people just simply just respect other people's dietary choices, and then we could just move on to other pressing issues, but I don't know what is wrong. It's like I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Great, and I kind of made a Futurama reference, but oh well. So anyways, I guess that's probably it.